Getting hooked on vaping is easy, but quitting, that's the hard part. Over 20% of 18 to 24-year-olds in Australia have vaped in the past 6 months, and these vapes are full of sweet flavours and highly addictive nicotine, some with the equivalent of up to 14 packets of cigarettes. So it's no wonder why so many of us have become hooked. If you've been thinking or trying to give it up, this is for you, because we're going to be chatting all things quitting in the final episode of Vape Nation.
I remember the first time I ever tried a vape. I was actually at a friend's house with my brother, and they had like one of the tiny little like 300 puffs. And I remember I hit it for the first time and it hit me like a train. Like it was so intense. And then it was kind of like, because I'd already tried it, I was like, well, I've already tried it now. I can probably, try it again. Because I was around everyone at that time, I was just like, yeah, like I'm not addicted. I'm just like, everyone's offering it to me and I'm just taking it.
And many of us did take it without maybe being fully aware of exactly what's in it or how addictive it can be or even the potential health outcomes, because it just felt like all of a sudden out of nowhere, they were everywhere and everyone was doing it.
I think it just snuck in under our noses. I think we may have been a bit distracted by other things like COVID, for example, in terms of the health system. And it just was insidious in terms of the way that it was marketed, and then the way that young people took it up. It sort of became kind of a quiet epidemic, I guess, of young people trying it.
I worked out it's so much more that you're able to have in such a short period of time. Where like one of the 4,000 puff vapes that I was having, I worked out that it's equal to about 20 packets of cigarettes, which I was having 20 packets of cigarettes in 4 days, which is absolutely insane.
Rachel found that her addiction snuck up on her. She moved from her home state to go to university in Queensland. And when she was away, she realised that vaping, it wasn't just a casual thing anymore.
It felt like there was like something over me and like I couldn't breathe properly. So I was like, I think I was having a panic attack when I didn't have it. So I had to like go to the shops to go and get it. And it was like then when I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm actually like addicted to this.
Rachel is one of the 11 young people who have spoken out about their experiences of vaping through a youth-led campaign called Uncloud, where personal stories are shared to support young Australians quit and highlight the slippery slope of vaping. Uncloud research found that 75% of 14 to 24-year-olds thought that vaping was somewhat or very common among their friends. But in reality, only 32% of their friends had actually vaped in the last 30 days. And they also discovered that out of the people who said that they are addicted, a significant amount of them wanted to quit.
Although a lot of young people now say that they do feel addicted to vaping, which is a shame, like 4 in 10 of them were saying I feel addicted. 6 in 10 were actually wanting to quit already. And so it might be that, young people are starting to make that decision and thinking maybe it's not right for me. And so that's early, very new data, and I think a really positive sign.
So, how do you actually quit vaping for good and start breaking that cycle of feeling like you constantly need your vape? Well, there are a few methods. The first is going cold turkey. This is when you just decide to quit flat out and then never touch it again. And while this can work for some people, it can also be very, very hard. The symptoms from quitting vaping can range from being irritable as fuck, being depressed, anxious, having difficulty concentrating, difficulty sleeping, and it can even make you constipated and gassy. We don't have enough data yet to show the success rates of quitting vapes cold turkey, but some studies on quitting smoking have found that only 5% of people were able to quit this way. So if you're like the other 95% of people where this method just will not work, one of the best things you can do is make a plan. Quitting is going to be hard, so if you can make a plan about how you're going to quit, you're in the best spot to set yourself up for success.
If you're thinking about quitting or wanting to, you're already halfway there. It's the mental, that's the hardest thing to overcome. To actually physically quit, you need to want to do it. If you don't want to do it, there's no point.
A good way is to talk to your friends about wanting to quit. Telling someone about it makes it real and can also hold you accountable and gives you someone to reach out to in challenging moments. Set a date you want to quit by, because having a timeline where you can set goals for yourself can also really help. You also need to decrease the amount of nicotine that's in your system. And this starts by not having a vape on you at all times. Weaning your way off limiting the times you can vape or your exposure to it can be really helpful, just like it was for Rachel.
If you stop buying them, you're going to break the habit of looking for it when you're asleep in bed, when you're in the car, when you're by yourself. I'd condense the amount of the hours. Like I can only have 5 puffs between the hours of 3 to 4.
There's also nicotine patches and nicotine gum that you can use to supplement the nicotine cravings. Exercise can be helpful, or even chewing normal gum can distract you when those cravings rear their head. Also, actually removing yourself from situations where you feel like you'll be unable to say no, which obviously can be very, very hard, but it's all part of the journey.
Like, I've actually had to leave situations before. I went to my 5-year graduation last year, and a bunch of people that were in my year group were all vaping, and I actually called my boyfriend and got him to pick me up because I was like, I can't. That was when I was at the stage where I couldn't say no. People would offer and I'd be like, oh, okay then. Or like, oh, I haven't bought it myself, so it doesn't count. It counts.
Another thing you should do is celebrate your wins. This isn't going to be easy, so each day you go without vaping is a massive achievement. Rachel used a daily count app to see how many days she'd gone without it, and physically seeing her progress gave her that boost of motivation when her cravings hit. And now she's over 6 months without having touched a vape.
I haven't touched a vape in like over 6 months, but that doesn't mean that I haven't wanted to. And it's not like a quit. When you quit, it's not like, oh, I've quit, you know? It's not like, you know what I mean? Like it's an ongoing struggle, and I'm still struggling with it. Like, I literally, driving here, there's a vape shop down the road. Like, I still seek it out. Like, I'm not gonna go and do it, and I'm not gonna go and buy one, but like, it's still something that's reoccurring in my head. I don't know how to explain it any better than that. But like, it's like an ongoing process. You don't just quit and then you're okay. Like, that's what non-smokers don't understand. It's a commitment that you have to make for like the rest of your life.
Every day you go without it, it makes the next one easier. Be kind to yourself, and if you relapse, it's okay. You can always start again. Thousands of young people across the country are setting out to quit. So if this is you, you're not alone in this journey. There are so many other young Aussies that are also going through this right now. And it is absolutely possible to quit vaping for good.
If I can do it, anyone can do it, right? Like, yeah. That's all.